Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is 12 Gauge. If you've been here before, thank you for continuing to come back and give my page some of your time and some of your kindness. If you haven't been here before, take a look around. There's plenty in the library. There's things that you can see that range from true crime to self help to life skills to addiction, all kinds of different variations to keep you busy and engaged. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you enjoy the channel, there's memberships available. Just hit the join button at the bottom of the video. Excuse me. Good morning. So, this morning, I'd like to discuss something that I've discussed before in the past, but I want to give you some coping skills to deal with it. You know, as human beings, we tend to live life really fast these days. We tend to try to put as much as we can into the moment, almost as if we're scared that we won't have those moments in the future. Sometimes we must slow down though, because if we don't, we end up messing things up. We end up beating ourselves up when we feel that we're not perfect. We have these moments where we feel that everything must be perfect or it's not good enough. Those thoughts can become overwhelming. Those thoughts can become stressful. And in that time, we just either compound the effect or we just quit and dive into a depression or anxiety, or we go hide out, which is not healthy at all. So I'm going to talk about self-sabotage. Self-sabotage and how it's so easy for us to go backwards if we aren't mindful of what we're doing. Yeah, Rondi, I hope that your ankle heals soon. I'm sorry to hear that. It's terrible to injure yourself in any variation. Like I said, I'm going to talk about self sabotage. And if you don't know who I am, my name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel. This starts off by asking, are you committing self sabotage? Self sabotaging behaviors are often hidden from our everyday thoughts. See here if you've done it. Here's something to start it off with. Once upon a time, there was an eagle who lived like a chicken. His owner loved the eagle so much that he fed it chicken feed and kept it in a barn with other chickens so it would never go hungry. One day a man passing by asked the owner why the eagle, proudest of all the birds, was living in the barn with chickens. His owner said, I love my eagle so much. I've given it chicken feed every day and kept it safe in the barn. It no longer needs to hunt or to fly. The man was curious at this. He wanted to know if the eagle really had lost its ability to fly. He picked up the eagle and said, You belong to the sky and not the earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly. The eagle gave him a curious look, jumped down from out of his hands, and went back to eat chicken feed off the dirt. The next day the man tried again. He went to the roof of the house with the eagle and said, You belong to the sky and not to the earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly. The eagle, fearing the height, wriggled free from the man and jumped back down to the earth. to the ground to be with the other chickens. Finally, on the third day, the man took the eagle to the top of a mountain and said, "You belong to the sky and not to the earth. Stretch forth your wings and fly." The eagle, trembling but seeing no way down from the mountain, stretched his wings and flew, slowly at first, but then up, up, and away toward the sun. What the moral of this parable? The eagle had it in him all along, but his upbringing and lack of belief in himself led to self sabotage. That's an awesome story. Awesome, awesome story. But how many of us self sabotage our good fortune due to our belief system from the past, present? How many times have we been told, "Stay here, it's comfortable. Stay here. Don't go outside your comfort zone because you will get hurt." Sometimes comfort is the hurting part of our lives. And you said, excuse me, and you asked me, 12 gauge, how's that possible? Aren't we supposed to live a comfortable life? Well, there's a difference in living a life of comfort and being comfortable enough to not grow. Because a lot of times when people reach the pinnacle of what they feel that their life has become and where they want to live and be comfortable, that's when they stop growing and they start getting stagnant. And they start sabotaging their good fortune because sometimes without chaos there is no growth in their mind. So they go backwards in order to feel like they're accomplishing again. The self sabotage definition I like. Self sabotage is when part of your personality acts in conflict with another part of your personality. I like this self sabotage definition because it gets to the core of what's going on. When you engage in self sabotaging behaviors, it's because there's a conflict in your personality. One side of you wants one thing, the other side of you wants completely different. Self defeating, self sabotaging behaviors can be serious, like substance abuse, overeating, or even self injury. This is so true because whenever you're at that point where you start to feel like part of you wants to grow, but part of you scared, just like what I just said, you start defeating yourself in small ways. You start allowing things from your past and comfort to define your reality. I hope this makes sense because, I'm going quite quickly through this, but I'm not trying to. I'm trying to give good examples. And whenever we have conflict with part of ourselves, we're in inner turmoil most of the time. We're anxious, we're stressed out, we're overwhelmed, we're uncertain of our ability to move forward and do something different. So we continue to chip away at the good parts of our lives because that is the sabotage. For every good thing, we feel we must be punished with something on the other side. And that's not always true because there's individuals in this world that feel that without punishment or self defeating thoughts or behaviors, there is no growth. So it says, but what I want to focus on today are all the subtle ways that you're sabotaging yourself. The 11 ways I will detail in a moment will be so insidious because they aren't necessarily associated with negative behavior. What that means is these 11 ways aren't necessarily negative, but they're self sabotaging nonetheless. Here we go. Having a drinking problem is having a drinking problem, but fearing change, that can be good or bad, depending on the situation. Whenever you're starting something new, a part of you is going to resist the change. The goal is to recognize your self sabotaging behaviors and then do something about it. 11 ways you engage in self sabotaging behaviors. Number one, you have a fear of success. Fear of success isn't really a thing, that's why I put it in quotation marks. When people talk about fear of success, they're really talking about fear of change. Your psychological barriers to change are deep rooted in your brain's operating system. We worry that success will turn us into different people. We worry that success will alienate our friends or our family. There's security in flying under the radar, putting your head down, not in a good way, and not being noticed. As artist entrepreneur Hugh McLeod puts it, success is more complex than failure. People like your employees or your clients come to depend on you. The key is to not dwell on how the responsibility could go wrong, but how taking that step can overpower or empower you to bigger and better things. How many times have you told yourself a negative response before you even try? How many times do somebody mention a football team or a vacation and you repeat the negative that you've heard about it rather than the positive? I'm sure you've done it, you've heard people do it because we're all fallible. So when you hear that, it kind of diminishes your want to even go to that place. Let me give you an example. Let's say you've never been to Disney World and you're talking to somebody and you're saying, well, I want to take my kid to Disney World. I never went as a child. I want to take them. And instantly this person says, oh yeah, but the park is so dirty and the restrooms are bad and the price is kind of high. The drinks and the food, they're okay, but the prices are really out there. You better take you a lot of money in order to have a good time. What has that person done to your dream? They pretty much just stomped all over it and given you multiple reasons, if these reasons are fears in your own mind of your own limited ability to change your circumstance. I hope that makes sense. But that happens every day. The key is to not to dwell on how that responsibility could go wrong, but how taking the step can empower you to do bigger and better things. Number two, you dwell on too many options. More options aren't necessarily a good thing. Too many options can lead to decision paralysis. Options can freeze you up and make you worry about your paths you don't take. I see this with high achievers all the time. Being a high achiever means that you can follow many different paths to success. How do you know which one to choose? The secret to defeating analysis paralysis isn't complicated. All you have to do is take action. Some of the most interesting people on the planet have had winding, complex careers that look that took them to and from diverse fields and industries. That doesn't mean passion isn't important. It just means defining what you want to do in life is a process. Get started. You know, let me give you an example on this. Sometimes when you're fearful of change or doing something different, you give yourself many options out or many options to consider. And you could be a person that's a healthy way to cope with it, but you shut down due to the stress that too many options present you. So you're almost in a paralysis state of mind where you're like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know which direction to go. There's just too many ways to get this done, and I don't know which one's going to be the best for me, for my family, for my finances, for my success. I don't have a clue. So you're stuck, and you sit there and you dwell on it, and you dwell on it, and you dwell on it. Like this says right now, all you have to do is take action. Stop dwelling on too many options. Just take action. Get started. Doesn't matter if you're perfect. We learn from our failures, and without failure, there is no growth. You quit when the going gets tough. The internet is a sea of dead blogs. What the internet marketing guru don't tell you is that it takes years to build a following online. I don't mean to be the one or two outliers who did it in 6 months. The vast majority of blogs at the top of the Alexa rankings have been around for a long time, 4 years or more. That doesn't mean throwing a good time after bad is smart. You have to set smart, realistic parameters for judging the success or failure of any project. But it does mean that failing fast isn't the same thing as quitting fast. Make sure you understand the difference. Here's an example for this. I've talked to I've talked to creators who have started their pages or their channels, as well as myself, early on because I wanted to quit. I wanted to shut this down and look back, never look back, and I felt like I was a failure at it because I didn't have 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 followers almost instantaneously. Then I had to ask myself, what is it that's making you put so much pressure on this channel to grow? What is it? Is it ego driven? What is it? So you have to ask yourself, what is it that I put so much emphasis in this happening so quickly? Otherwise, I want to walk away. Have you ever walked away too quickly before the miracle happened? If you would have waited a couple more weeks, a couple more months, your fruition of success would have manifested itself and you walked away too soon. Give yourself time. Give yourself the ability to learn while it's quiet. Because once it speeds up and you get everything that you've ever wanted out of life, you either grow into it or it becomes overwhelming and you destroy it. There's been multiple stories of people that have wanted certain situations in life and they didn't grow into it. But once it happened, they were so focused on what they wanted, they didn't learn how to prepare once they got it. So once that happened, they were so overwhelmed that they started sabotaging their good fortune, just like what we're talking about. You don't take your money situation seriously. Spend less than you earn. Seriously, how hard is that? But many of you aren't employing even the most basic strategies to manage your cash. You invest in junk instead of yourself and perpetuate bad spending habits. We all know we need to live on a budget, so why are you spending yourself into debt? Some people criticize me for talking about personal finances so much. They say, what does budgeting have to do with agile living? It's real easy. Simplicity is one of the core tenets of the Agile Manifesto. Simplicity in your lifestyle means getting rid of all the excess overhead so that you can concentrate on what really matters, creating meaning in your work and your life. This one's pretty cut and dry. Don't spend more than you make. And I know that's hard in today's economy because everything costs more than you make sometimes. You know, you sabotage yourself sometimes by just splurging when you should just be saving. But I'm not in your pocketbooks. But that's just a self sabotaging behavior. Let others monopolize your time. Time is your most valuable resource because it's finite and non renewable. Yet you have no idea when your peak productivity times are. You don't guard your time from interruptions and distractions, let alone use smart productivity methods like the Pomodoro technique. If you work in an office with chatty coworkers, you know what I'm talking about. Between unplanned pop ins, small talk, chatting about kids or sport, gossip, and dumb questions, you can lose an entire day to disruptions. Guard your time jealously because no one's going to do it for you. And I can't stress on this one enough. I can't. In order to be productive, you must be a little jealous of your time. This has to be yours. Don't give more to other people just because at that particular time they're needing you more. Be productive first and then solve the non emergency problems. You avoid the hard work in favor of the trivial. No one ever saved the world checking emails. There, I said it. Give your inbox a rest. Turn off your Facebook and Twitter notifications. If you want to do something important, achieve something great, or create your legacy, you won't do it jumping out of your seat every time your phone buzzes. That stuff is attention pollution. It's not that important. Jeff Godlin differentiates between hard emotional work and hard physical work, really labor. Most of us do the former these days and not the latter. Doing hard emotional work, being creative, solving problems, putting yourself out there, means conserving your attention and brain power. Hard emotional work requires mental focus and concentration. It's not easy. We live in an age where anywhere, anytime, but you need to do the hard work if you want to create anything of value. And I'm not saying that you don't do these things. I'm just giving suggestions on if you do these things and you're constantly battling with going back and forth in your mental stability, there could be a reason why. You could be fighting yourself from becoming the stable person you want to be. I've worked with many people who worry about the smallest things and let the deadlines and the bigger thing just not become important, and then at the last minute they're struggling to get these things done because they didn't get them done when they needed to, but they were focusing on things that could have waited. You don't take radical responsibility. I'm 100% responsible for the success or failure of this project. When's the last time you heard that in corporate America? Probably never. The cover your ass culture of bigger is better companies has led to a workplace that's been conditioned to never take responsibility. Shift the blame. Point the finger at the other guy. Keep your job. Radical responsibility is hard. It's scary. You're going out on a limb, but for any would be entrepreneur, it's also liberating as hell. You're both the designer and end user of your life. That means you've already 100% responsible for your lifestyle. Embrace it. We live in this world right now. There's a lot of individuals that you can ask them at work, why didn't this get done or why didn't that get done? They always have an excuse. Or they blame somebody else. You can go to a restaurant and order something and it come out wrong. The person that handed you the food is going to blame the cook. The cook is going to blame the person who stocks the meat or the lettuce and tomatoes or whatever. And that person, if they're there, they're going to blame the owner of the company. So they none of them really take responsibility on why your burger is bad. We've gotten to this streamlining effect in our lives where nobody's accountable anymore for their actions. Or better yet, we don't hold accountability. We accept the excuse and go away with that irritable, restless, discontent feeling instead of saying, no, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm not going to let you make it based on your excuse or your blame. Because honestly, people think the more believable blaming this person or my excuse is, that allows me not to be accountable for what I didn't do. Or they'll tell you, I'll be better next time. Well, next time comes around and it's still the same situation. We can't change other people. That's what I want you to know. And that's what I'm trying to show you is other people are not going to change until they see the need to change. You can only change yourself, and that's a hard process to understand. We're so fixated on the other people, we need to focus on ourselves. Let me give you the example. I say other people always blame others, then we get into that culture where we're blaming other people as well. That's what I meant by that. So we can't get into the dysfunction of what other people do because that's how we sabotage ourselves. And I hope that makes sense. You tell yourself a negative story. Henry, Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Many of us are walking around with negative stories in our heads. I'll never be good enough. I'll never live up to my parents' expectations. I'll always be second best. Think of the negative self-talk doesn't mean any think negative self-talk doesn't mean anything? The field of narrative psychology is telling us that it does. Human beings are storytelling creatures. We understand the world and our lives in story form. We learn lessons and persuade others with stories. So, what do you think it's doing to your psyche when you repeatedly tell yourself a negative story about your self worth? Let it go. You wake up every day with the rest of your life ahead of you. It's time to turn the page to a new chapter. Did you hear what I said? Let it go. Let it go. How long are you going to carry around this backpack of bricks with negative connotations associated with you or your belief system? It's time to drop that backpack and let it go. You know, we want to be better, we want to do better, we want to think better of ourselves, but for some reason, we don't believe that if we let go of all these negative things, we'll believe what we get to. We say be positive, we say be empowered, we say do these things, but many people do not have the understanding how to get there. I challenge you to understand it and get there. I challenge you to get a better understanding of self worth, a better understanding of I need to do this for myself and I'm tired of hurting me. You spend all your time planning. Planning feels like real work, but you're only using it to avoid starting. Long term planning is a joke, and your 5 year plan will be obsolete the moment you finish writing it. Starting is the most important thing. That doesn't mean you start without being prepared. Preparation and planning are two separate things. You must start with a quick initial plan and a strategy, but then you focus on responding to feedback, course correcting, and irritating yourself of sticking to the plan at all costs. No plan survives contact with reality anyway. There's one word to say about this: procrastination. Procrastination. Procrastination is a killer of our desire for success. We procrastinate on so many things. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Hell, I'm guilty of it right now. There's a floor full of my vacation clothes, the duffel bag that I took, dirty clothes, clean clothes, clothes I just bought, shoes, everything all over the floor. There's dishes that need to be done. And what do I tell myself? I'll do it after I go work out, or I'll do it after I get offline. And it hasn't gotten done yet. And I've been home since Monday. What's stopping me? Always find something better to spend my time on that doesn't involve getting things done. So I don't know if you're like me, but you spend too much time planning and not enough time doing. There lies the problem of sabotage. Number 10, you sabotage your sleep. You will spend a third of your life sleeping. So why do you treat your sleep so poorly? Happy sleep leads to happy work. Happy work leads to a happier life. In the scheme of things, it's not that hard. But we make excuses about why we don't sleep more and sleep better. These excuses are a roadblock to achievement. I know you've read about people who can sleep only 2 hours a night. It sounds tempting. But trust me, no more than 1% of the population can do this. Odds are you can't. Get your 7 hours of sleep a night, and every facet of your life will improve. How many of us say, I can't get to sleep. I can't stay to sleep asleep. My mind races. My mind is always awake. There's a reason for that. Do an inventory. Like it said earlier in the lesson here, is your phone going off with notifications? Is your phone lighting up every time somebody texts you? Is your phone the problem? Is the temperature too hot or too cold? What did you eat after 7 o'clock? Did you drink caffeine? Did you eat anything spicy? Did you overindulge? Did you go to sleep too early? Is your sleep pattern something that is consistent? You go to bed at 9, get up at 5, you're good. But if you go to bed at 11:30 and get up at 5, there's going to be a problem. So quit sabotaging your sleep. If you need that sleep to be successful and you're sabotaging it, then you're your own worst enemy. You don't cut yourself any slack. Here's the biggest and last one. I know. This is the last piece of advice. Seems to contradict the rest, right? After all, I'm talking about how oblivious you are to the way you sabotage yourself. But seriously, you need to cut yourself some slack from time to time. High achievers in particular ways always hold themselves to a high standard. That means at times being unduly harsh. I know I've had this problem. I'm easily my own worst critic. Literally, no one has ever said anything as harsh to me as I say to myself pretty much every single day. It's a problem. Self compassion is the answer. Self compassion doesn't mean lowering your standards, but it does mean finding a way to forgive yourself and your small mistakes. You know, we make mistakes, it doesn't make you one. We can have a bad day, doesn't mean we're going to have a bad life. For whatever reason, individuals need to learn how to overcome their inequities and lighten up. Lighten up on the things that they're holding on to so dearly that cause them problems. Learn to let go. Because until you let go, that thing's going to be wrapped around you tightly. I'm going to give you some causes of stress, even though you probably have your own. These are some ways that people have stress in their lives. Stress is the body's response to stressful situations. Conflict, loss, and overcommitment are common causes of stress. Stress management worksheet can help you explore the causes of stress in your life. What causes you stress? Let the things that you've found stressful, or list the things that you found stressful over the past few weeks. What about chronic stresses? List the biggest causes of stress for you over the past year or more. What is bothering you the most today? Here are some of the symptoms of stress. Stress can result in problematic symptoms, especially when stress continues over a long period of time. The common physical symptoms of stress are headaches, back pain, neck pain, chest pain or discomfort, other pain or discomfort, problems with digestion, nausea, shaking, sweating, dizziness, numbness, or tingling. There's some common emotional, behavioral, and cognitive symptoms of stress. These include irritability, crying, frustration, anger, impatience, emotional fatigue, burnout, decreased productivity, concentration problems, memory problems, confusion. All of these can be symptoms of stress. Have you seen a healthcare professional to determine whether there are other causes for your symptoms? Stress itself can cause symptoms, and it can also contribute to symptoms that are caused by another illness. That's a very true statement. When was the last time you had a physical or a blood panel done? When was the last time you went to the doctor? And I understand that a lot of us don't have the financial means or the insurance to do this, but you must make time for this. If you have determined that stress is causing or contributing to your symptoms, you can manage your stress to minimize its impact. Some management worksheets can help you to evaluate your symptoms of stress and find ways to manage the stress and the symptoms. Continue with these stress management and identify your symptoms of stress. How do you know when you're feeling stressed? I would suggest that you go back and you pause this portion of the video and write these questions down and you do this daily inventory until you're capable of doing it without writing it down or visualizing it. Some people have to see it, write it down, internalize it, and then make a plan for change. But don't procrastinate. Do that plan immediately. What are your early warning signs of stress? What are the first things you notice when you experience stress? Most of us get this nagging headache behind our eyeballs. Some of us get that neck pain. We feel like we're carrying 1,000,000 pounds on our back. We're irritable. We're frustrated. We don't want to do anything. We just want to go to sleep. What are the chronic symptoms of long-term stress? Are there anything that you have often? One of the ways that I know I'm getting stressed out is under the shoulder blade. I start to get this nagging pain under my shoulder blade. And that's telling me, hey, stress has made its way back to the back. It's time to do something. Coping skills and habits. How do you usually handle stress? List your coping skills. How effective are those coping behaviors you have used in the past? Do they reduce or eliminate the stress? If not, then you need to try something different. Which of the coping techniques did you use in the past but are no longer using? Let me ask you this question right now. Are you stressed out at the moment? If you are, when was the last time you stopped, took a deep breath, and meditated like we've done before? That's a coping skill that works. Scott says they listen to metal music. That's a coping skill for them. You know, there's different variations. What you use is your own. But the outcome needs to be calmness and ability to put that to rest, not carry it around for later on in the day. This isn't a hoagie sandwich that you eat a part of all through your day until it's done and have a backup once you finish it because you're never going to quit eating that. So if it's hurting you, you need to find a way to deal with it so that it doesn't become problematic long term. Changing situation. Choose one of your stress causes. How can this situation be changed or improved? For example, relationship stress, assertive communication training, setting boundaries, resolving conflict. Overcommitment to something, setting boundaries, saying no, eliminating some things from your schedule. Grief and loss, seeking support, journaling, finding enjoyable activities to fill your day. What is your stressful situation and how can you change this situation or improve it? Developing coping strategies. It is important to use a variety of coping strategies to manage stress that will inevitably will occur. By regularly practicing coping strategies, you can stop stress from building up and prevent stress overload. Not all stressful situations are within our control, and not every situation can be changed. Effective, healthy coping skills can allow you to get through difficult times. Examples of healthy coping strategies are relaxation techniques, journaling, deep breathing, exercise. Sometimes if you're stressed out, the best thing you can do is put whatever it is that's stressing you out. You put it down and you say, you know what? I'm going to go outside for a walk. Walk around the yard for a minute, 30 minutes, whatever it takes for you to breathe in the air and calm yourself down. And once you walk back in, if you don't feel like dealing with that, put it away for a little while and go back at it and deal with it a little bit at a time until you get it done. I was stressing myself out because, like y'all know, I'm going to school right now for my bachelor's in criminal justice. I'd always feel like I needed to do all my work on Monday or Tuesday. And man, there's a lot of essays and a lot of things that I got to get done in a week's time. So I would be putting this humongous stress on me. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do the easier stuff first on Monday and Tuesday, or maybe just do one class on Monday, save the essay part for later, read throughout the week, and then on Friday, I'm going to write my essays. Thursday and Friday. You know what that did? That made it for Thursday and Friday. My mind was completely clear of clutter. And I was able to focus on my essay, the things that I needed to get done, because I've been struggling with this since I started school. And I've barely figured it out with 6 classes to go. Sometimes I'm a slow learner, but I do figure it out eventually. I am I am a continuum work in progress. So list 3 coping strategies that have worked for you in the past and you would like to use regularly. List 3 new coping strategies you would like to try. When will you use these coping techniques? How will these 6 coping skills you have identified affect your stress level? What changes will you see as a result of using these coping strategies? That's why they say nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You must ask yourself, what makes me hang on to what I'm not wanting to let go of? What's it going to take for me to finally say, enough is enough? Enough is enough. I got to get back to me. I got to get back to a version of myself that I loved once. I got to get back to a place where I'm okay with being who I am, not worrying about other people's expectations of who I need to be. You are not your illness. You're not your ailment. You are not your diagnosis. Many times people label us and stick us in a box and say that's who you are forever. You know, I've been stuck in a box before. I've been called overweight. I've been called clingy. I've been called whatever. All these things that can harm a person's psyche if they allow it. But instead of getting angry and changing for the moment, get proactive and make it a lifestyle change for you, where you can be the one that benefits in the long term. Because chances are all these negative people that are a part of your life will dissipate as you continue to grow in progressive, positive ways. They might not even be around in a month, a year, or 6 years from now. They may have etched themselves out because they see that you're different. And one thing misery doesn't like is not having you around. It loves company. So try to remember that. Try to remember that you're worth fighting for. And if you got to come watch this video every day in order to get started or to get motivated, then do it. Or find you videos on YouTube that are motivational. There are videos that help you through your workout, that help you through your self-doubt, that help you through your anxiety, that help you through many things. But helping you and you believing it in order for it to change are two different things. So do understand that. This isn't a band-aid. This is a long-term solution. Change your life. Let go. Stop being so self-critical. Be accountable when you need to be, but self-critical are two different things. I hope you've enjoyed what I presented today. Last Sunday, I tried to do this and it didn't go as well as I planned. I'm really happy with the way today went. I hope you are as well. I hope that you guys use this as a start to a better you today. Don't wait. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. Because when you put it off, then you continue to add stress and everything to your life, and it just gets heavier and heavier. And before long, you're back in the same place you're trying so hard to get out of. I hope you enjoyed this. Once again, my name is 12 Gauge. If you watch this on a replay and you're not a member or you're not a subscriber, please find a way to get that done. I promise this is a great place to chat, a calm place to chat. There's not drama, there's not name calling. There's none of that. Let's get our day started with positivity, guys. Don't let anything stand in your way of being the best version of you that you can create. Be that work in progress to keep going forward despite the obstacles. You can have bad days, doesn't make it a bad life. You can make mistakes, it doesn't make you one. Like I always say, help is on the way. You guys have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week until we meet again. I'll see you later. I'm not gonna have the maestro key the music. I'm just gonna play this music in the background for a little bit. Okay? Thank you so much.